And we're back with Robert Cook, and we're just rewind just a couple of minutes. We were talking about how this culture has been so much about, hey, it's my body, it's not hurting anyone. Hey, I can do what I want, it's my body. And I'm not just saying that, not just this culture, I'm that way, I can do what I want. It's a very selfish kind of thing. How do you respond to that?
Well, we were reading the verse in 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. Jesus says, do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, which is obviously God, by the way, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought with a price. Therefore, honor God with your body. And so when young people tell me, hey, it's my body, I can do what I want, I'm not hurting anyone. I mean, it's pretty clear right here that we don't own our body. Jesus died on the cross, paid the price for us, and he owns us. You know, the Holy Spirit lives in us, and we need to honor God with our bodies and our minds.
It's amazing because when you really think about it, God's just saying it's his, it's all his, and it's just so hard for us as this culture to give that over to him. You and me were talking earlier today, and you told this story, and I know that sometimes we're like, oh, that people heard this story all the time, but I think it is so amazingly true and so awesome. I'm asking you to tell it again. Can you just tell it for everyone?
Sure. Well, like I said, I didn't invent this story, but when I heard about it, I'm like, this would be so awesome to do at my youth ministry. And so we baked a bunch of brownies and took them out on a Wednesday night, because on Wednesday nights we have the message and everything. And I put the brownies out, and I told everybody to come up and get a brownie, but don't eat it yet, just sit down. And so they all came up and got a brownie, and they were like loving it and sniffing it and everything, and like licking their lips and all that. And I was like, okay, go ahead and take a bite of it. And when everybody went to bite, I'm like, hold on, just hold on 1 second. I'm like, when I was making him, I took a little teaspoon of dog poop and put it in the batter. And people were freaking out, throwing it down, go, oh my gosh, and freaking about it and everything. And I was like, what? It's just a little bit of dog poop, you know? And they're like, oh, well, you ruined it. You ruined the brownies. And the point that I was trying to make, and the point that the story makes is, you know, we'll watch a movie or something that might have nudity in it, or we think we can do, you know, just this little bit of something. And, you know, that little bit of dog poop ruined the whole batch of brownies. I mean, I didn't really obviously put dog poop in the brownie, but, you know, if I had, who would eat that? I wouldn't. Even, I mean, I could have 2 gallons of brownie mix and a teaspoon of dog poop, and I'm not touching it because it's all ruined. And if you're watching something and it's got pornography in it, or, you know, any type of sexual thing where somebody that's not married is having an affair in a movie, and Hollywood's filled with that stuff. That's what sells. It's the whole thing is ruined. You shouldn't be putting that stuff in your mind. You know, you're only supposed to put things of God in your mind, not this kind of stuff, you know. And so that's the moral of that story with the brownie mix is, you know, even though it's a little bit of dog poop, it ruins the whole batter. And so does a little bit of sin in a movie ruins the whole movie, you know.
Yeah, and it speaks to what goes on in our lives, and we want you to know that this is a big topic, and so we're not gonna hit it all today, and it's hard to discuss all this today, and we're gonna be doing more of these kind of topics coming up next week, and then we're gonna keep continuing to move forward. But I also want to give you guys some hope, especially with some people that do struggle with this, all the kind of stuff, and it may not be just porn, or it might not just be these kind of lust issues, and it may be, and maybe you've struggled with that since day one, but there is hope in Jesus. And Robert, I just want you to share just a little bit about how we can start the process of accepting that hope and changing to a new day.
Well, what I love to tell the teens, I always say, no matter how far you've run away from God, it's always one step back. He's never moved, and all you got to do is turn around. And I point to the story of the prodigal son, about what he went out and he squandered everything, and you know, he wanted to come back to his father as a mere servant, and he would, you know, feed the animals and probably sleep outside and everything. And his father sees him coming back and just runs across the field and meets his son where he's at, doesn't wait for him to come back, meets him right there. And they take him back and give him the best robe. So, you know, and the father doesn't say, well, you did this and you did that. And God's the same way. It doesn't matter what you've done. You might have screwed up and you were a virgin and now you're not and everything, and you think there's no hope for you. But God, the second you say, please forgive me, God, he forgives you as if it never happened. And you can start fresh this very day. I know it's a cliche, but today is technically the first day of the rest of your life. And you know what? You can choose to either stay in that sin or turn back to God and walk away from it, and that's done. That's over. It's in the past. And I say, whenever the devil reminds you of your past, just remind him of his future, because we read the book. We know we win. You know what I mean? So don't worry about what you did. God's not worried about it once you ask for forgiveness, you know?
There is no way I can top that. I just want to thank you, Robert, for joining us today, and I'm excited to see, because this was the first couple days in the book, and so if you want to check out the book, make sure you go to Amazon or buy it on Kindle. Regenerate with an 8, the number 8. It's so clever. Make sure you do that, but make sure you get that. You can sort of go along with us, because we're going to do the next 3 days next week, so we're going to continue, but I love the hope that you give, and because it's so true. It's from Christ and Christ alone, and I just love that. So thanks again for joining us today, Robert.
Thank you for having me. Always good, man. God bless.
Awesome, awesome. That's Robert Cook. Make sure you go get his book today, and if you already have, I love doing it. Write it up, write in it, and if not, then give it to someone that you know. Share it or tell them where to get it. It's just such good stuff. We got some more music here, and we will be back here in a couple minutes, so make sure you stick around.